Back to one of our top stories now. Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa is yet to respond following a day of rage in his country over the doubling of fuel prices. Instead, he's continuing with his official visit to Russia. The Zimbabwean leader will meet today with his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin. eNCA's Moscow correspondent Julia Champan joins us now live. Julia, a bizarre decision to continue with this visit, but more bizarre that Emmerson Mnangagwa is yet to say anything about what's unfolding in his country.
Yes, indeed. It comes at an awkward time, this visit, this five-country visit, which has begun in Russia. And it does seem that the president is trying to distract from what's going on at home, although that would obviously be very difficult considering the escalation that's been happening in the streets of Harare that have now, the protests now turning deadly after a fuel price hike was announced by the president on Sunday of around 150%. So people really taking to the streets, expressing their displeasure at this. And now it seems that those protests have turned deadly. But we have yet to hear any comment from the president specifically on those protests. He simply said in response to a question from a journalist yesterday that these price hikes were necessary and he believes that they will help address the economic situation going on now in Zimbabwe. And he's here in Russia, as I said, as part of a five-country visit. He'll also be visiting Belarus, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and then later going to Switzerland to Davos for the World Economic Forum. And he's come under an enormous amount of criticism for taking this trip at such a sensitive time and taking a trip at such great expense indeed as he tries to drum up investment here in Russia and in other countries.
Yeah, so that was my next question to you, Julia. What will those discussions between Vladimir Putin and Emmerson Mnangagwa include?
Well, we understand that they're going to include a number of areas of cooperation where the two countries are hoping to grow the relationship between Russia and Zimbabwe, and those are both in the economic and the military sphere. We've heard yesterday from the president of Alrosa, the chief executive of Alrosa, a large Russian diamond mining company, who announced that Alrosa will be starting mining operations in Zimbabwe as early as next month. He said that they've set up a subsidiary in Harare and that engineers and geologists will be starting diamond mining in Zimbabwe next month. And so that's welcome news for the Zimbabwean president, who was hoping to drum up some more Russian investment in the mining sphere in Zimbabwe, because of course Zimbabwe is a very mineral-rich country. Platinum is another area that he is hoping to drum up some more Russian involvement, although there have been some hesitations on the part of Russian companies to fully get back into Zimbabwe. They have some serious concerns, of course. So they're still developing the relationship between Zimbabwe and Russia, and both countries do seem to be hoping for a more fruitful partnership indeed. President Mnangagwa is going to be the first foreign leader that Putin is meeting with in 2019, so definitely a sign that the relationship is improving.
So, Julia, I mean, these are the important discussions that need to take place between Zimbabwe and the countries the president will be visiting, as he tries to sort of kickstart the economy back in his country. But I mean, people like Nelson Chamisa from the Movement for Democratic Change saying that this is a situation of chaos, it's a national crisis, it's descending into a humanitarian crisis, he says. I'm sure journalists will continue to push Emmerson Mnangagwa on where his priorities should lie.
Yes, indeed. As I say, he's come under intense criticism for taking this trip, such an expensive trip, at such a time of urgency back at home. And so he's come under a lot of criticism from a number of groups saying that he should be really focusing on priorities at home rather than attempting to build bridges around the world at the moment. But he would, of course, argue that he is trying to attract investment for Zimbabwe to help improve the economic crisis at home, which is becoming more and more urgent, as we're seeing. And he is hoping that by garnering some more investment from Russia, from other countries in the former Soviet Union as he makes this tour, that he will be able to help soften some of the problems at home and might in fact improve the economic situation there.
All right, well, thanks very much for that. Live to us from Moscow, our correspondent Julia Champan.